Fam, I welcome you, our listeners across this beautiful land, the Pearl of Africa. It's the 6th day of March. It's Wednesday. We are coming to you live on radio, online, and on your smartphone. The hot seat begins right now. And tonight, we are shedding a light on matters of the National Unity Platform. They seem to be in the eye of the storm and more or less fighting amongst themselves. Words of accusation leveled against their former leader of the opposition, the Honorable Mathias Mpuuga, claiming that he lacks some integrity and there is an integrity deficit in NUP. So we will be talking about these issues from the perspective of the former leader of the opposition, the Honorable Betty Awal, the Member of Parliament for Gulu City, woman MP for Gulu City. She's joining us online.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, Honorable Wall.
Good evening, Mr. Kamara, and good evening, listeners.
Thank you so much for finding time for joining us and to speak to us on KFM. And I'm sure those who are listening the hot seat now are looking forward to hear from you, because at one point you were leader of opposition in Parliament, which is now being held by the Honorable Joel Sonyunya, and before that by the Honorable Mpuuga. You know, did you, for example, let me be very candid, did you get also the service award of 500 million when you left office?
Not at all. And my time was even a very difficult time, the time that COVID-19 actually invaded the world. So Uganda was part of the world. We had the difficulties of lockdown all the time and resources channel to fight COVID-19. So I never got anything to do with the service award.
So you never got anything to do with service award. Was it because the current the leadership then never considered you as somebody worthy to receive, or it was not in the in the modus operandi, in the mode of operation of Parliament? Then, I mean, how come you missed, and yet here we're being told this is how things are done?
One, things are always done right when it's in the law. You know, Parliament is an institution. And as an institution, and we use public resources. So public resources are used according to policies, according to guidelines, according to laws. And we should not abuse public resources. We should never take Parliament as can I say, things that you use for your personal gain. So we are usually facilitated for reasons, and the reasons are usually very clear.
Okay, for those who are listening to us, Honorable Awal, you are former leader of opposition. Are you telling those who are listening to us that the 500 million service award given to the Honorable Mpuuga, Mathias Mpuuga, is out of the law, is illegal?
Well, if at all that money is given, because for me, I still consider that allegation, if it is given and given irregularly, if this was a developed country, they would resign their position, because it is not only him. What I have heard and seen from social media, sometimes we don't completely take those issues for gospel truth. Although we usually say there is no smoke without fire, but sometimes certain things can be framed. If it is true that all these people got this award, which they call service award, without any policy, if they made a policy in the commission, then they never brought it out clearly to people, then that is also irregular. They should have done things which Parliament as an institution accepts. But I also see that there is a lot of weakness. If at all this thing is true, then there is a lot of weakness in the part of the clerk to Parliament. Clerk to Parliament is the accounting officer. An accounting officer must always guide.
Let me see here, for example. Yes, it's good to say these are still allegations, but at least there's a response to these allegations from the Honorable Mathias Mpuuga that he signed. And he says that the commission which sat and deliberated on giving funds is the same commission that votes to fund all political offices, including LOP's office. It takes care of the welfare of ordinary members and their leaders in Parliament, including determining the range of legally permissible payments that may be salary, allowances, gratuity, honoraria, car grants, among others. Every decision of the Commission to confer or reward anyone under this charge is subjected to the relevant committees of Parliament for legality, feasibility, sustainability, and relevancy. So he seems to say, in the letter he's written and signed, that whatever was done within the confines of the law.
No, not at all. If at all it is done like that, it is not within the confine of the law. It is irregular and it is illegal. And we must know that public resources must be guided by the law. That one is just sitting, and the 4 or 5 of them sitting and determining what should accrue to them sometimes becomes a challenge.
You know, you were a leader of opposition on the war. Tell us to what extent, the kind of challenges you meet as LOP, the kind of negativity that will attract, the weight of the office, the expectations of the people, and sometimes even fellow members of Parliament from your own party or from your own opposition. How is it like, if you can just paint a picture? Because there are very few people in this country that have ever been in your position.
But I am a Christian. And I always want to be very truthful. And this is not how politics is. So people say I'm a very poor politician. And number 2, expectation of that office is too high that you cannot meet. It is not easy to meet the expectation of the office. First expectation is for you to employ. Very many people want you to employ them, but you are limited by space. And so even when you employ people, you don't have to seem to be employing people of your relatives, your friends, your tribe mates only. So you have to be a little bit national in character. So to me, when I was the leader of opposition, even people who later on got permanent positions, I found them there, and they apply and they got permanent positions. I am not very sure if any one of them, apart from my PA, who is an Acholi. So it's only one, and only one Acholi I left in my name. The rest are either Musoga or Langi or Gishu, those. So I was very, very cautious about being national in character. But I hear, my ears actually get to know that there are certain things which are happening which are contrary to what the guideline of our law of the Parliament says. So those who recruit their relatives is a bit of a shame on them, and it is a moral issue. So if you know that there you have decided to recruit your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, and like that, the world will not judge you fairly.
I just want to know, for example, how do you juggle the interests of the party you represented in parliament, and that is FDC, considering that there were like two groups, the group that is defiant and the group that was trying to organize. And it looks like also in even NUP today, there seems to be a group that is taking a different brand and another. So how do you reconcile those groups? For your case, FDC defiance and FDC organize, and yet there you are as a leader of opposition. Did you ever find trouble to bring together your members themselves?
When I was the leader of opposition, we were one party, a Forum for Democratic Change. We were one. We were not divided. And moreover, at least those who worked in the office of the leader of opposition were able to also guide me. They knew the challenges in that office. So when certain things did not work well, they did not crucify me for that. And I made sure also I did not go out of the way. There are certain times, I want to tell you, that certain times I would run out of my fuel completely. You know the distance of my district. I also wanted to be in my district, that is in Acholi sub-region, all the time, not only to remain in Kampala, and also to do my work nationally, to go even to places like Kabale, to go to probably Mbale side and the rest of it. So very many times I would run out of my fuel. Then I would struggle to get fuel from my own pocket.
But that's very strange, because we understand that the leader of opposition is a well-funded office. It's more or less like even more than a government minister. You have a convoy of vehicles and sharpshooters in your convoy, bodyguards and all this. I mean, it is very strange to say that Honorable War would even run out of fuel. That's very strange to hear.
I had two vehicles, but the principal car and the lead car. Because as a leader of opposition, you have to sometimes keep time, and you have very many other things to do in a day. So the lead car was there to help you with the jam, so that they can open way for you and you go, and you are able to keep time. So I had two vehicles, lead car and my principal car, and I used those two cars. But even with those two cars, I would be given fuel, and my fuel was, I think, about 18 million. And this 18 million, sometimes some other people also would like to get. It has to take 3 months, 18 million in two cars, 3 months. So you can now calculate that per month. That means per month is about 6 million.
Because those are big engines you have a V8 and those are really fuel guzzlers.
V8. So I would run out of fuel. And it was so difficult to the extent that one time I had to share it with the finance officer. And the finance officer, the chief finance, the director of finance. The director of finance said, sometimes it has to be your administrator. That is somebody who was in my office handling my expenditure, who should be able to look around and see some other line where you could get, instead of leaving you to struggle. We worked. We didn't understand very well with my work, with my administrator. This is sorry to say. She was not as helpful as a person should be.
Okay.
But believing so much in God, I said, I never gave up. I said, I would rather keep my name, because I value my name so much, other than things of this world.
All right, Honorable Beta, well, hold on to your point because we want to take a very quick break. And when we come back, I just want to understand life after being leader of opposition, because here you are moving on the streets of Kampala, the roads are being, are being opened for you. You have a lead car, life has changed, you have a lot of power on the street, and then you come back, you find you are an ordinary member of parliament. How do you readjust to what you had gotten used to? We'll be right back.
933 KFM.
KFM's Hot Seat. Hear the real story behind the story. Coming right at you. Only on 933 KFM.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Kamara. My guest joining us online is the former leader of opposition, the Honorable Beta Wall. And we've had you before we took a break. Now, and sometimes you could run out of fuel. And I found that very strange. But I want to believe what you're saying, considering the person that we know, your credibility and your integrity. But now, explain to us what it is like. Because this is supposed to be a coveted office. Leader of opposition is even better than, I suppose, a cabinet minister's portfolio in terms of weight, in my view. Now you become ordinary member of parliament, driving like the rest of us on the streets, the congested streets of Kampala. It must be very frustrating. How do you readjust? Coming down on the ground, be like the rest of us.
Thank you. I'm a very flexible person. I'm so flexible. And I live a very humble life. My life is like that because I see we are a developing country. We need to be very careful with our luxury. Sometimes you are so luxurious, you want to overdrink, you want to go beyond your expenditures through corrupt tendency is very bad. So I live a very humble life. I mix with the people. And so it is not difficult for me to continue mixing with people.
Is this the kind of office that, because they say power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely, is this the kind of office, if it doesn't find you firmly grounded in values, you could get derailed from the reality and start living a superfluous kind of life and forget yourself? Is this, can it be deceptive, and can it change a man or woman?
Well, I don't know with the 11th Parliament, but with the 10th Parliament, probably it was just because my time was time of COVID-19. It is not as people expect it to be. We didn't have that much that people expected us to have had. So sometimes even I cut off some of my internal trips. And internal trips going probably to Dokolo side or some oversight, simply because there is no proper facilitation. When I am told there is no money, this is internal for oversight. How about if we talk about external trips? External trips were not there at all because of COVID-19. So it has been very easy for me to adjust because my life there was not full of luxury the way probably some other people lived. And I also want to think that the people I succeeded, right from Professor Ochan to Honorable Winnie Kiza. Well, I did not see that kind of so much luxury. The little that we have, we try to share to let it reach out to people who work with us, because we have a team. Like I had, just like you say, sharpshooters. Had up to I think up to about 9 police. That is including driver. This policeman and my guard, we lived very well. We actually bonded very well. And it was true that they would always open way for me very quickly. Right now, it's sometimes very frustrating. Just about 2 weeks ago, when I was to go to a TV, NBS, on a show, a talk show, it became very, very difficult. I got stuck in a jam for more than an hour. So I failed to meet, to reach in good time. So I only talk to those people online the way we are doing now.
So let me take you back, Honorable Award. I take you back to the service award because that's our gist of the matter. In your view, what is really wrong with the service award? Is it the manner in which it was decided, or the fact that it's a one-off and the past and maybe the future lops will not be considered?
One, if 5 people sit and decide, then they should regularize it. Let it be regularized. And I don't mind. Personally, I don't mind. I told you that Uganda is a very poor, is still a developing country. It's not a very poor country, but it's a developing country. So when people go out of institutional guidelines to let something benefit themselves, they should always be mindful of the masses, the population of Uganda. Can I say the health centers? Sometimes you feel so hard when you go to hospitals or to public health facilities and you find the way people are suffering. And some people die even when they are not supposed to die. If they were supported better, they would not die.
So, but Honorable, remember, just recently, former parliamentary speakers and VPs were given brand new vehicles. Another one-off. We didn't see it. And these vehicles are also maybe worth 500 million or more. I mean, it looks like this has been happening, and people were okay with that. Why are they not okay with Mpuuga?
One, it's not only Mpuuga. I think it's also diversionary if we talk about Honorable Mpuuga only. Because I have seen that even these other 3 commissioners benefited with, is it 400 million each? If at all, that is really the truth. Because I had that Honorable Mpuuga, Right Honorable Mpuuga, admitted that he was given that money. So for those speakers, it is in our law. I think it is in Parliamentary Administration Act that these people should be rewarded. I think in every parliament they should be given as long as they are alive. At one time, I also complained. I think I complained before I was leader of opposition. I said, if they make speakers then benefit, why can't they go beyond and say, also leader of opposition, let us have them benefit? Because leader of opposition is actually governing the country together with those in government. One,
okay.
Just because of the name, probably if the naming was my leader of majority and leader of minority, then they would not look at this opposition as probably people who should not benefit from taxpayers' money at all.
All right. All right, Right Honorable Beta Wall, former leader of opposition and member of parliament, woman and member of parliament for Gulu City. I want to thank you so much for the time you've given us. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we shall be joined by the Honorable John Baptist Nambeshe, opposition chief whip and MP Manjia County in Bududa. We'll be right back.
933 KFM.
The hottest debate on all relevant topics live on KFM's Hot Seat tonight. KFM's Hot Seat covers all the relevant topics every weekday, 7 to 8 p.m.
Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Kamara, and we continue to shed a light on the office of the leader of opposition and also the allegations in Parliament about the deficit of integrity to some senior members in the opposition party and National Unity Platform. We have seen two letters, one of them purportedly written from NUP office, and the other, which is signed, is a response to the unsigned letter of NUP, and this signed letter is by the former leader of opposition, Right Honorable Mathias Mpuuga. We are now joined by the opposition chief whip and member of parliament for Manjia County in Bududa district, the Honorable John Baptist Nambeshe. Thank you so much for joining us, Honorable Nambeshe. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Bwana Kamara, and thank you for hosting me.
Honorable Nambeshe, it appears that your house is not in order the way how you would have wanted it to be in order. These allegations of accusation against the Right Honorable Mpuuga from a letter that is not signed, can we take it as true that this letter is from NUP, for example?
Yeah, that letter bears with it features which prove that is from the official sources of NUP. One, you could have looked at the logo and also the official media or the handle, the media house. But most importantly, I participated in the senior leaders meeting where the Honorable Mathias Mpuuga himself was. We participated in a meeting that had been hurriedly convened by the president of the party, the Honorable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. And definitely what the contents of that letter are part of the resolution is that transpired in our meeting.
So I'm told in that meeting you asked the Right Honorable Mathias Mpuuga to apologize. Are you confirming to the listeners that he apologized for receiving this award?
I wouldn't want to be the one, since I'm not the spokesperson of the party, to divulge what transpired in the meeting. That question could actually be responded to best by the spokesperson of the party. But the truth of the matter is that we convened and a resolution was arrived at, even with the consent of the Honorable Mathias Mpuuga.
I wonder what would you make of the statements of the Honorable Mathias Mpuuga that he made that have also been signed. For example, he talks of the campaign to character assassinate him is deliberate, and that he's perfectly aware, and that this campaign to malign his name is a well orchestrated and well funded campaign. And so if the leader of opposition is writing something like this, and that is a funded campaign to character assassinate him, you as a chief whip, what do you make of this?
Me, on my part, I want to take the middle line, and I wouldn't have encouraged to be very actually unfortunate to tow the current political undercurrent after that meeting of the senior leaders in the party and the eventual decision that was made.
I'm actually, Honorable Nambeshe, I understand that. You don't want to divulge what's happened in the party. You want information to go through the official lines. I'm only asking you questions, considering that the Honorable Mathias Mpuuga made his response public in a document that has been signed. And he's talking about there has been a campaign to character assassinate him, and that this campaign is well funded, and that is public knowledge. And you are a senior member of NUP, and when you see another senior member of NUP talking about this to me looks like a party that is facing an implosion.
Senior though I am, or senior though we are, I don't think I would be privy to some of the things which my other senior colleague is in the know. For instance, I was not aware until that response was made that there are some sections of our own that are well funded to witch hunt him. And this now that it has come out, and it seems on both sides of the aisle, there is a lot of moralizing of the issues, egoizing of the issues, philosophizing of the issues. Mine is actually to reconcile the two, to ensure that what has caused these two to disagree and even create a rift within the party, which of course is not new for parties to have internal contradictions, require a conciliatory approach. And my role definitely is to ensure that I help to bring the two parties together, to reconcile them.
Yeah, because as Chief Whip, your role is crucial here. But it appears, and I'm only looking into the statement of the Right Honorable Mpuuga, that you have really been in the murky waters. And he's talking about 2 years and a half during the occupation of this coveted office of law, that it became the official style of different party members to undermine his work, including hiring of bloggers to abuse and insult his person. And I find that very intriguing.
I think my good friend Mathias Mpuuga is entitled to those statements. But if I were him, or if I were his handlers, I think given the duration of time he has been in the office and the rapport he has had with the principal and the camaraderie he has been enjoying with the relationship has been going on well until this particular instance, I think I would be slow to make some of those claims.
You see, when we listen to him and we look at the response, when we listen to him and see and read the response, for example, and I want to quote from him the very last I can quote from his response, and he says that this shall remain my resolve, and I cannot be deterred by small group family interest being peddled to blur the bigger picture of how the party is managed without transparency. That there seems to be some kind of cocoons, including family interests in the party, and these are words of the former leader of opposition. You seem to be headed for trouble unless you command your boat very well and balance it, which must be sooner. You could actually hit a snag.
Well, you see, what I see, just as I have just said, maybe he wrote that letter when I mentioned undercurrents. Undercurrents come with emotion. When emotion is flare high, the challenge that emotion is caused that they lock out reason and logic, and one ends up making unfounded, baseless allegations. Just like, for instance, you have heard of family, you have heard of all manner of accusations which didn't actually form basis of that meeting. That meeting was convened locating its basis on what was seen in the exhibition that is still ongoing.
Nambeshe, there seems some information that is coming in that there could be MPs who would want to take the view of the Honorable Mpuuga on this issue, and of course there are those who are going to take the view of those who are opposed to Mpuuga. In other words, this could lead to some kind of a breakup and a disagreement right down the middle.
Yeah, there are already sharp disagreements, and just as you have observed, the rift has already created a divide. There are those that are in support of the Honorable Mathias Mpuuga and those that are in support of the leadership at the party headquarters. And that's why I wanted to be in the middle, because we need each other, especially at a time like this. At a time like this, we wouldn't be tearing each other or even be thrown into emotions. Emotion is lock out reason. It locks out logic. What we ought to know is that NUP being the latest kid on the block has an opportunity to learn from the past rifts in parties. For instance, we have witnessed rifts and internal contradictions in parties like DP, in parties like UPC, in FDC of recent, even in NRM. So the truth of the matter is that...
Lastly, Honorable Nambeshe, when you have the leader of opposition talking about...
We are lucky to learn from those. Huh?
And lastly, when you have the leader of opposition, Honorable Nambeshe, who is talking about the family interest and personal interest fused with the party interests, we are inclined to believe him because of the vantage position he has in the party. So he can see more than we can.
By the way, Kamara, I'm not at odds with that statement which has raised. And that is where I would want to engage even further with the rest of the senior membership of the party. Because he could be having, that statement could be pointing at more than meets the eye. There is something which the Honorable Mathias knows, which maybe some of us had not known. And it is maybe good that it rained, that we were able to know where it is leaking in the house. So this particular statement is very pregnant, and I wouldn't want to leave it just be swept under the carpet.
All right.
So we shall take it on, and we shall use this opportunity of reconciliation, because I'm working around the clock to ensure that both parties actually come back on the drawing board, because we know the enemy that is putting a wedge, and that is the party that is in the power. It is interesting to note that the language you have used, that both parties, so you already know there are two different parties in one. But I want to thank you, Honorable John Baptist Nambeshe, Opposition Chief Whip, MP Manjia County in Bududa. Thank you so much for your time, sir. You are welcome, Kamara.
Thank you. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'll open the line so that you too, the listener, you can have your say. We'll be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the hot seat. My name is Patrick Kamara, and now I'm opening the lines so that you too can have your say. I already have a caller online. Why? Hello.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Kamara.
Good evening. Who is this I'm talking to, and where are you calling from?
Justus from Chira.
Could you say that again?
I'm Justus from Chira.
All right, Justus in Chira, go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, but according to what is in the NUP, much honorable shouldn't be blamed, because if it's the committee that decided to increase on the increment of the MCs and whatever, and it was like he was given according to his work, then why should we judge it? And this year shouldn't be the year of misunderstanding between the party you are in. This regard, like they were supposed to sit together and they see how they can handle him, rather than going to the media and start blaming him. Mr. Mpuuga has a case.
Okay.
The case is between the NUP.
Okay, that's a caller from a listener in Kira. Thank you so much. You think it was done using the available structures of the party, and that you think he's an innocent man? Maybe. We have another call online. What does he think? Your name? Hello?
Yes, hello. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Chiwaza calling from Yenga.
Okay, go right ahead, sir.
Yeah, now what?
Hello?
What is happening in NUP currently?
Yes.
It's not.
Oh, sorry. Maybe you can call again and tell us what you think. Unfortunately, we seem to have lost that caller online. This seems to be a very controversial issue. And because the letter that was written by the Honorable Mathias Mpuuga himself sort of points at something that is very difficult within the party. Let me hear what... you have a call online. Hello?
Yeah, yes, Patrick. It's Mitchell again.
Yes.
Yeah, now what I'm trying to say is that what is happening in NUP, it has also happened in some other political parties, but the way how things were handled, they're a little bit different. Now, when you look at the Mpuuga's issue, when he mentioned about the family interest, we should just appreciate and understand what he meant. For example, just take a look at the appointment of the president, NUP's president, Nyanzi, to the chairman, to being the chief mobilizer. He cannot mobilize where he comes from. That is the central region. To even win a political seat or a member of parliament seat, how can he mobilize for the national team, as in for the national party? So, when Mpuuga mentions that he was able to mobilize and bring 54 members of parliament just from the central region, you could have to appreciate that. Maybe we just need to go deeper and appreciate without, being so biased and so subjective. So that I can say. Oh, that's what I can submit. Thank you.
Thank you for your submission. But did he really mobilize alone? Was it his effort? Or he also enjoyed the wave that was provided by the party, which was started by some other person? Those are your own views. You can interrupt them the way interpret them the way you want. But there's no doubt when you listen to Honorable John Baptist Nambeshe, he thinks that the two groups need to reconcile, because a strong opposition party is good for Uganda, is good for democracy anywhere. And a divided opposition group or minority party is not good for democracy. As a young democracy, we need people who can keep checking on each other. But if there's one overwhelming group that has such a juggernaut and the others are not even raising their finger, then that's not good for democracy, because they'll keep the other people in check. I have another call online. Hello.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Patrick.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is Michael from Mukono.
Michael Mukono, you're loud and clear. Go right ahead with your question or comment.
I think opposition needs to be wise enough to stand strong. And there's somebody who is throwing spies in these opposition parties to eat them up. If they don't open up their eyes, they will end up diminishing, and then there will be no opposition anymore.
Okay, that's what you see. Let me take the very last caller online.
Hello. I'm lucky to be the last caller.
Who is this now?
I'm Isaac. I'm calling from Buikwe.
Isaac in Buikwe.
Okay, now the issue is...
Yes.
Mpuuga should own up. What he did was not really good. So if he comes up and owns up, maybe the whole focus that we are seeing. Yes. Thank you.
All right. Our caller from Buikwe there. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody who has participated in this program, especially all of you who have called in and those who have been listening in. I want to thank you for the privilege of your company. Also want to thank the Right Honorable Beta Wall, former leader of opposition and member of parliament representing Gulu City, for the time they've given us, and also giving us some kind of an opportunity to understand what goes on in the office of the leader of opposition. But we also want to thank the Honorable John Baptist Nambeshe, opposition chief whip and member of parliament for Manjia County in Bududa, for having given us his time. And he's very optimistic that him as chief whip, they'll work hard to ensure that the rift that seems to be coming up now will be removed, so that the party can run together like they've always been. And I want to thank you. And this brings us to the end of tonight's edition of The Hot Seat. Join us again tomorrow, same time, same station. Good night and God bless Uganda.